Welcome to Baby Boomer Tales. My name's Jim. I just got back from Colorado. Went to see my daughter and her husband and my grandchildren. It was a very nice trip, but there were some things that I bring back from Colorado that it takes me a few days to shake off. I've talked about this probably every time I go there and I get back and I do a podcast. Several things. Their roads in Colorado are absolutely the worst. Also, the silly little rule or law or whatever they have of no bags. You go to the grocery store, they're not going to bag your groceries for you. You have to carry them out individually or throw them all in a shopping cart. It just chaps my every time I go to a store there. Years ago, I was probably about 40. I worked at this place and had to do stuff that made no sense sometimes at this place I worked. And I had a friend named John that worked with me, and we would sing this little song, "This is stupid and I hate it." And maybe John would go, "This is stupid and I hate it." And I'd say, "This is stupid and I hate it." I've talked about this before, but you know, it helped pass the time while we were doing a project that didn't really make much sense. Well, the other day, coming out of the store, we went down and bought some stuff. You know, we were staying with my daughter, so we bought some food and stuff. And carrying it out, we were trying to carry it in our arms. You know, you have a thing of milk and a half a gallon of orange juice and several canned goods and maybe 10, 15 items between the two of you, trying to balance them on your arms. And I started singing, "This is stupid and I hate it." And the next thing I know, I hear this echo coming from my wife as she was lugging a bunch of this stuff, trying to balance it. "This is stupid and I hate it. This is stupid and I hate it. This is stupid and I hate it." And we did it back and forth, and I looked at her like, "What have you done with my wife? Who are you, woman?" Because she always got after me, saying that that was a bad confession and it didn't make any sense and it made me sound dumb and all that. And all of a sudden she's singing it. So I asked her, and she says, "Well, it was pretty stupid and I hated it." Boy, it endeared me to hear her just all over again. "This is stupid and I hate it." Anyway, when we got back from Colorado, and I may edit this out, we'll see how the time goes, but I'm going to tell you a little something. We're gone a week, 8 days, something like that. And I came back and it was non-eventful. Well, yesterday, I knew I had to get some outside work done. It was nice, and winter's on us, basically, but it was a nice day, so I had to bring in a bunch of firewood. I just put about a third of a truckload in my pickup, and then I back into the garage, and I have this place I can store it all there. So it's nice and dry by the time I bring it into the house. And then I filled up some gas cans for the generator. If heaven forbid we'd run out of electricity, I could at least have my generator going, keeping us going a little bit. And so I went down to the little shed and got some gas, and I looked, and by golly, there was something dead over there. So I walked over there, and it was a deer, and he is about half eaten by all the coyotes and crows and whatever comes and eats a dead deer. And I wondered, he's just laying there out in the middle of everything, and how could this happen to this deer? So I theorized several things. One was that he got hit out on our road. That happens once in a while. And usually I just haul them off to the back of the property for the coyotes to eat. Maybe he only made it up to the pond, I don't know. But the way everything is, he did not run past my cameras getting to where he died. So I kind of eliminated that because I have cameras, and the only way he could really come from the road, it would have shot off those cameras. So that couldn't have been it. And I figured, well, somebody shot him and he took off through the trees and stuff, and they either lost him or didn't track him. That's probably what happened. If he didn't fall, they're too darn lazy to track him. Even though I think it's kind of late in the season, I don't think it would have been a deer season type situation. So anyway, and that's probably what happened. That probably is. He's a young buck, about 2 points. And I was thinking, well, I'd like to keep those antlers once he gets done being picked over by the nightlife out here. But he just won't have shedded them. You know, that's how you find antlers. And his teeth are all gnarly, like he died in great agony. It's pretty gruesome. My wife won't go down and look at it. And there's only one vantage point I can see it from my house. So sitting here, I know where he's laying, but I can't see it because some trees are in the way. So there he is. I came back from Colorado to that. But there's a second part to that mystery, and that is there was some dead wood floating in my pond from a windstorm before we left, and now it was sitting up on my dam, and there's no way it could have got from in the water to up on the dam. And it was just laying there. Now, I fish that stuff out once in a while, and I'll let it lay there for a day or something and let it dry out before I put it in the brush pile. And I don't remember doing that. I don't think I did that. So that can only mean one thing, and that is that a human being was on my property. So I guess I'll throw a camera so it points out that way. I don't like that. You know what I mean? This place is pretty protected, but you don't know what happens, especially at night. But between the dead deer, and if it was a human chasing the deer, why didn't he dress him out and get him out of here while I was picking the wood out of my pond? I don't know. It's just weird. Anyway, that's the way it is. That's the way it is. I guess all things must change. Our song of the week is The Circle Game, written and sung by Joni Mitchell. Joni wrote this song in 1966, and she recorded it on her 1970 album, Ladies of the Canyon. So 4 years later. But several people had sung that song in 1967 and 68. Buffy St. Marie is one of them. She recorded it in 1967. Joni always said that this song was a response to Neil Young's Sugar Mountain. We're captives on a carousel of time. We can't return. We can only look behind from where we came. When we got home, I took my wife's car down to the gas station. We have a brand new truck stop out at the interstate. Now that's about 5 miles drive for me, but that's the closest place. You know, it's usually on our way to the city if we are going to go see one of our kids' school events or something like that, our grandkids. And so I got buying gas there a lot because they had a rewards system. It was a Shell station at this truck stop, and it's a big, nice, modern truck stop. Beautiful place. And Shell has a rewards program. I was getting so I could get at least a quarter off a gallon every time I went there, and sometimes up to 65 cents a gallon off. And so we were buying all of our gas there, period. And there's another nice gas station right across the street from them. That's a busy area for this small little town I live in. It's just outside of town, but it's all part of town, I guess. And I went there the other day, and I had 45 cents a gallon off. And it didn't show where it was going to give me my discount. So, what? So I went through the whole process of paying and stuff and nothing. So I put $1 worth in and shut it off and tried it again. And it still didn't show the discount or any place where it mentioned it even. So I went into the place where the cashiers are and all that stuff. And I told them what was going on out at the pump. They said, well, we're not a Shell station anymore. I looked out there at the pump. I looked at their sign. Everything says Shell. It's Shell's colors and all that stuff. I says, yes, you are. It says that right out there, Shell, right on the pump, right on your sign. See the sign? She says, doesn't matter. We're not a Shell station anymore. There's no rewards program anymore. So instead of fighting with her because, I wasn't going to gain anything, you only fight for what is right. And it's their station. I'm sure they'll change the signs. So I went out and filled the wife's car up and said bye-bye to that gas station. I'll probably never stop there again. Unless they have some other brand that has a rewards program, possibly then. But that was a sweet deal. It was really pretty good. But I thought to myself, all things change. All things change. So I need to talk this out because I'm still not very happy about it. But if you look around you, everything in life changes. All things change. It just made me reflect and think about it. So I want to go through a few here. What about the seasons changing? It will be winter in a few days. Now it may feel like winter where you're at or where I am today. It feels more like fall. But the seasons change. If you take a piece of paper and crumple it up, that piece of paper will be forever changed. It'll never be like it was before. Even if you ironed it, it's not going to be like it was. Is change good? Some change is good and some is not. If you change your socks every day or whatever, yeah, that's a good change. Maybe not so much if you change mates every couple of years. I don't know. The average person will change jobs or careers at least 10 times in one's lifetime. The world we know is not the world we knew 20 years ago. It's not. Technology changes very fast. Look at your phone. Just look at your cell phone. Now think about the one you had 10 years ago. Think about the phone you had 20 years ago. Everything changes. Prices on goods always change. They go up and down, and over the course of time, they gradually creep up. You cannot buy eggs for 39 cents a dozen anymore. You just cannot. But you can leave the store thinking you got a good deal on eggs because every place else you saw where you bought them is cheaper than all those other places. Someone's relationship with you can change on a dime. You insult them or do them wrong or maybe kid them about something that rubbed them the wrong way. It can all change. 40 years of friendship can change in an instant with a word. You know what they say about words? They're just like a rock. You can't unthrow it. Fashion changes. There again, just like your phone. Look at a picture of you 20 years ago. What you were wearing 30 years ago. Remember leisure suits? Maybe that was more than 30. By the way, I did not have one of those suckers. I didn't like disco either. I'm just an old hayseed from the country, I guess. I used to say I was a mountain boy, but there's not many mountains around here. Although I live in hill country, it's pretty here. You know, my daughter's view from her home is one of the most dramatic, beautiful views I've seen from a picture window ever. It's even better, I think, than my parents' house where I grew up, my house. It looked at the Continental Divide wrapping around you. Well, my view is I look at my pond and my fields and stuff, and I think it's very, very pretty. It's very wooded and pretty, but it's different. It's hard to change time zones. When we were there, it was an hour earlier. And you say, well, at home it's really 5 o'clock, not 4 o'clock. So let's eat. It's hard to change brands. I love Miracle Whip. I don't like mayonnaise. I never liked mayonnaise. And there's other brands of something that's supposed to be like Miracle Whip. But if Miracle Whip went out of business, if Kraft discontinued it, I don't know what I'd do. But I would survive. There's only one place in the little town I live close to that I ever liked to eat, and that was a barbecue place called Smokies. Old Smokey sold it, and the people ran the business into the ground, and then they sold it, and the people that bought it changed the whole thing, and it's a hot dog restaurant. If you can even imagine. Well, we tried it once, and it's hard to change. The whole time I was in there, I was saying, do you remember Smokey's? How great it was? Our bodies have changed. They change daily. You cannot do things that you used to do when you were 21 or 17 when you are in your 60s or your 70s. Or even 50s, really. You don't believe me? Watch some old-timers baseball game. Some of the guys, they're 50 years old and they can barely throw the ball. And they were the most dominant player in the league in their day. What is wrong with that? We change. Our bodies change. Our country changes. Pearl Harbor changed America forever. At the time, it was the second time we were attacked in our history. The other time was 1812, the War of 1812, where the British decided they wanted America back. Yeah. 9/11 changed things around here. The COVID lockdown definitely changed. There's still all kinds of business offices that are empty because people are working from home as a direct result of the COVID lockdown. On Facebook, if you're anything like me, you have all kinds of friends from your past. A lot of them are like high school friends, maybe college friends, people you grew up with, or your old friends' kids, stuff like that. Well, let me tell you, if you saw them today, you would say, my, how you've changed. And yet, on Facebook, you guys are all ageless, timeless. It's a wonderful thing in so many ways. But if you were to meet that person, hopefully you'd recognize them. First thing you would say is, my, how they have changed. But look them in the eyes. Look someone in their eyes. That is one place I believe a person never changes. Unless they go through a total lifestyle change. Maybe they were cruel and mean and now they're nice and kind. And that'll show in their eyes. But the eyes never lie. Christmas has changed. Remember when you were a child and wanting the latest toy in the Montgomery Ward catalog? Or when you first had children and how you're so excited to watch your little girls open their presents on Christmas morning? Or now with the grandkids? I look upon my life and I see so much that has changed. And though it makes me sad that I can't go back, I'm grateful for what I have and where I am and who I get to spend my life with. You can find us at babyboomertales.com. Once you've arrived at our webpage, there's a link to our YouTube channel, links to places that you can hear our podcast like Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and more. Christmas is next week. It falls on a Wednesday, so we'll try to do something next week for Christmas. It's good to be kind. Peace on earth. Jim out.